Fire in the Pines, Coeur Alene wildland ambush verified case reference. On June 29, 2025. In Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, an intentionally set brush fire on Canfield Mountain was used to ambush first responders. Scene 01, a shimmer of heat above Canfield Mountain. A thin smoke column threads the evening sky. Scene 02, dispatch tones drop. Brush fire, west slope. Initial response, en route. Scene 03, Battalion Chief John Morrison checks wind, slope, fuel muscle memory of 1,000 calls. Scene 04, Battalion Chief Frank Harwood rolls behind him, engines grind up swift. Scene 05, neighbors film orange tongues and timber. A boy counts sirens on his fingers. Scene 06, the first shot cracks. A windshield stars with spidered glass. Scene 07, radio, shots fired, silence, then overlapping voices. Scene 08, crews dive for tires and rock. A second slug, hammers steel. Scene 09, hose line slacken. The fire creeps while the ambush grows teeth. Scene 10, engineer David Tysdal hauls a medic bag, hands already bloody. Scene 11, Morrison is hit, Harwood staggers. Someone screams for tourniquet. Scene 12, flames paint the trunks, smoke hides angles, echoes mislead ears. Scene 13, command declares a hot zone, staging shifts downslope under pine. Scene 14, patrol units sprint in, the mountain becomes a crime scene on fire. Scene 15, a helicopter circles, searchlight fingers rake the canopy. Scene 16, K9 southwork sent where heat smothers human trace. Scene 17, neighbors shelter, lights off hands over kids' ears. Scene 18, a third, boom, pellets churn bark into splinters. Scene 19, crews drag a wounded firefighter by pack webbing to cover. Scene 20, a medic whispers to keep a chest rising count, press, breathe. Scene 21, flames jump a seam, crown fire flashes, crews flank despite rounds. Scene 22, air fills with rotor thrum and clipped radio cadence. Scene 23, a deputy marks suspected firing positions in charcoal and chalk. Scene 24, investigators note poor patterns near the origin fire as lure. Scene 25, a command post forms, maps, pin flags, caffeine resolved. Scene 26, mutual aid floods in, city, county, state, federal. Scene 27, Black Hawk birds the ridge, thermal scopes, scan gullies. Scene 28, a neighbor recalls a figure with a long case hours earlier. Scene 29, evidence techs, bag spent shells, soot dusted and warm. Scene 30, the word ambush moves like current through every channel. Scene 31, hospital corridors learn the etiquette of awful news. Scene 32, chaplains stand sentinel outside trauma bay. Scene 33, families arrive fast, faces reading doors like verdicts. Scene 34, doctors speak carefully, facts, not rumors, no promises. Scene 36, an officer escorts a child past a wall of radios gone still. Scene 38, ladder trucks brace flags over a street gone hush. Scene 39, at dawn, tactical teams sweep coulees, methodical and slow. Scene 40, a trail of melted boot prints ends at scorched duff. Scene 41, the suspect lies alone, shotgun near a blackened glove. Scene 42, coroner notes self-inflicted wound. Scene secured. Scene 43, names gather, Wess Val Roley, fragments of a private life. Scene 44, reporters stitch timelines, rumor learns to mimic truth. Scene 45, officials brief a county, facts steady, grief unhidden. Scene 46, two helmets on bunting become a city's new constellation. Scene 47, last call tones echo, the radio's pause cuts deeper than sound. Scene 48, a procession learns the curve of every familiar corner. Scene 49, station kitchens fill with casseroles and quiet chores. Scene 50, kids ask why anyone hurts the helpers, parents answer softly. Scene 51, policy talk catches up, ballistic glass, overwatch, red flag zones. Scene 52, crews caution, we want corridors, not rifles. Scene 53, wildland academies add a block fire as lure, tactics under fire. Scene 54, analysts graph rising assaults on first responders. Scene 55, detectives reconstruct ignition with drone photogrammetry. Scene 56, lab finds accelerant trace, origin sketched in charcoal lines. Scene 57, phone records put planning before smoke, intention before spark. Scene 58, motive stays blank, absence writes the longest paragraph. Scene 59, A memorial wall gathers patches from faraway stations. Scene 60. Turnout sleeves carry Sharpie messages. We'll take your shift. Scene 61. A rookie cleans the bay floor twice. Some rituals hold grief steady. Scene 62. A veteran teaches a quiet drill. Look up before stepping out. Scene 63. Engineers retrofit glass. Practice door discipline. Remark zones. Scene 64. A neighbor leaves water at the apron. Another, folded notes. Scene 65. The burn scar reads like handwriting no one can quite pass. Scene 66. Grass needles, the black, stubborn as prayer. Scene 67. Families visit the overlook. Wind lifts the edges of programs. Scene 68. Someone pins a Maltese cross patch to bark. Thread holds. Scene 69. The fire season continues. Calls don't pause for funerals. Scene 70. On a later night an alarm rings. Crews rise without a word. Scene 71. A captain checks his people twice. Fear is real. Courage is practiced. Scene 72. The first nozzle pushes line back into a canyon's throat. Scene 73. Water drums rock. Flame learns the language of retreat. Scene 74. In after-action review, someone writes, "Sunlight on the glass, remember." Scene 75. The chief signs new SOGs, measured, not theatrical. Scene 76. Budget meetings translate tears into line items. Glass, training, staffing. Scene 77. Reporters follow up. Attention drifts. Locals keep the lamp lit. Scene 78. A spouse wakes at sirens now, counting until they pass. Scene 79. A child draws an engine with wings. Crayons leave hail. Scene 80. A medic buys new shears. The old pair stays in a drawer like a relic. Scene 81. An engine company visits a classroom. Tiny hands lift plastic helmets. Scene 82. Questions resurface. Why here? Why now? Why him? Scene 83. Therapists teach breathing. Crews share dark jokes to break darker nights. Scene 84. An honor guard practices until the shoes learn the march alone. Scene 85. At dusk, station doors open to air that smells like pine and memory. Scene 86. On the mountain, a jay scolds. Life returns by instinct, not decree. Scene 87. A neighbor trails the scar line, hat in hand, lips moving. Scene 88. A recruit touches the plaque, steals a private vow. Scene 89. The Union posts scholarships in the fallen names. Scene 90. Dispatchers add a quiet code for caution on wildland calls. Scene 91. GIS maps lay a threat with fuel. Commanders brief, tight and clean. Scene 92. Crews add one sentence to morning checks. Stay eyes up in the black. Scene 93. The next small smoke rises. Radios wake like old friends. Scene 94. Engines climb, hearts clench. Training steadies hands. Scene 95. No ambush waits this time, only fire in its usual cruelty. Scene 96. Hose, shovel, so simple tools that keep the world from caving in. Scene 97. The mountain holds its secret, but the town keeps its promise. Scene 98. They will answer the bell. They will make it home more often than not.